I want to preface this video in saying sorry if my voice sounds really dumb or something like that. I've been kind of under the weather today, not feeling too well. But today Battlefield V or 5 was released. Released the reveal trailer, and I have to say I'm kind of disappointed. The historical inaccuracies of this entire trailer is beyond me. I can turn a blind eye to like Battlefield 1 where it's got the Hell Regal, which was never even made, or at least it wasn't made in quantity that an Ottoman soldier or like a British soldier would ever be using it. I suppose I can really turn a blind eye there. That's stretching it to the limits, but this trailer is so historically inaccurate. I think it's more inaccurate than Call of Duty World War II. And that is really saying something, considering they could freaking load rifles with scopes on them from a 45-degree angle with stripper clips. That's about historically inaccurate as you can get. But somehow, some way, Battlefield 5 figured out a way to be more historically inaccurate. Now here's my thing. Here's the thing. When I first saw this, I actually thought this was an alternate history thing. No joke. No joke. I thought this was historically like alternate history thing where it's set like, oh, you know how Wolfenstein is historically an alternate history where it's like the Nazis win the war. Like that kind of thing. I legitimately thought that this game was going to be an alternate history. But then I look on the website and it says no, it takes place in the early days of the war. This looks nothing like early days of the war. This is not anything like what World War II ever was like. Where do I even begin on the historical inaccuracy? You know what? Fine. I will just think of some on the top of my head. For the first and foremost, the one that is everybody is freaking out about, which I suppose it's not really the biggest thing to me, but the fact that the steampunk disabled metal robot arm lady is fighting in this conflict, especially on the front lines when women historically were not really on the front lines. They were more like secret intelligence, like spies, or in the Russians' case, they were their snipers. They definitely were not on the front lines. And everybody's freaking out about that because it's probably the most historically inaccurate things here. The fact that the British had German tanks, which I think if this game is taking place in early World War II, like 1941 or 1940, when the British were basically the only ones fighting against them still, the fact that they had German tanks, much less German tanks that probably weren't even invented at the time. Doesn't look like a Panzer IV, which I think was the most prevalent tank. I'm not too knowledgeable on World War II tanks or like when they were created. So correct me if I'm wrong on that. I'm not sure if it was like a Panther or something. But the fact that the British were using German tanks, especially in 1940 or 1941 or 1939, when the Germans were at their highest capabilities, or the highest thing, the fact that they're driving the German tanks is incredibly historically inaccurate. They're armed with Thompsons in the beginning of the trailer. The woman shoots the German soldier with a Thompson Tommy gun, or maybe M1920. I'm not sure in which model it was. You can tell me in the comments if you guys know. But the fact that they're shooting them with American submachine guns, which I'm pretty sure that the British didn't have. I might be wrong. I'm pretty sure, though, they were not using Tommy guns in the early war. The fact that the guy is carrying an MG42. I know it probably happened a couple times where you would use captured weapons, but the British were historically, in the beginning of the war, on the retreat. So it's likely that they didn't pick up an MG42. And the fact that the guy is wielding it one-handed when MG42s were typically crewed by 2 to 3 people the fact that he's wielding it just one man, I find it strange. And the fact that he's using a Luger when he should really be using, like, actually, I don't know what the standard issue pistol for the British was, but to sum up this huge ramble there, this game is incredibly historically inaccurate. And I can't help but feel that this game has just got a little bit of a political message in it, especially since they have plastered the disabled woman all over this trailer. You know, call me a friggin' sexist or a moronic idiot who's a misogynist or whatever, but I can't help but feel there's a little bit of subliminal messaging in this game. And it kind of makes sense considering DICE is based in Stockholm, Sweden, which is about the most liberal, feminist place on the entire face of the planet. But to sum up, this game is incredibly historically inaccurate. I think it is being a tiny bit politically motivated. Now, I might still buy it. I mean, if it's fun. I saw some of the new gameplay features they're going to do, which is like throwing back grenades and building fortifications, digging foxholes, I think, would probably be one of them. I'm not sure, though. I think that would make sense. Or using the environment in better ways. I think that stuff sounds pretty cool, but as for the other non-gameplay related mechanics, I can't help but be disappointed. This is not World War II at all. This is not World War II. This is alternate history, fantasy history. But you know, maybe I'm just being stupid. Maybe I'm just overanalyzing this. Feel free to discuss it in the comments. Just be civil, okay? Be civil. But please give it a comment and let's discuss. Actually, I mean. Yeah, so thanks for listening to this incessant ramble and filled rant. New videos should be coming out sometime soon. Anyway, this is Taco signing off.